Hello, hello, testing, testing. All right, I'm gonna get this stream started, and while I get this started, you can watch me get everything set up. So, let's see, what do I need to do in order to make this work? Chat, stream open. So, I'm gonna see if everything is working the way that it should. Let's let that go. What did I want to do today? I wanted to play some music in the background because it was really boring yesterday talking to myself. What do I want to listen to? I'll listen to this. All I wanted to make sure was that I can hear some music and you guys don't hear my music. So, listen to this. Way back here. Perfect. All right. So I have music, you guys don't, and I can get started. So let's open up Unity, and today my plan is to basically continue off from where I left yesterday. And yesterday I was, what was I doing yesterday? I was working on Super Zombie Runner. So let's see if we can get this up and running. And hopefully some people will see the stream. Oh, I should probably tweet it out. We'll get this up and running. And let's also open up Rider. And give it a few minutes and hopefully some people will start joining. I'm going to tweet it out. And then we'll get started. Super Runner. What is the Twitch thing? http://twitch.tv/Jesse Freeman. Alright, doing some live game dev on Twitch if you want to see me code. Super Zombie Runner. All right, so doing some live. All right, so I just tweeted that. I can move on with my morning, and I'm just going to start coding because I'm a little bit behind on this project, and I want to get this. Thing ready before GDC. Oh, I gotta put the noise canceling back on. All right, so what were we doing yesterday? Let's take a look at our task list and see what is next on the tasks. So fix checking project out from Git, add game over, stat screen, create namespaces, fix the font, make all text load from game text class, add logic to parse JSON. All right, we'll start with something a little bit straightforward. Like ears are popping today. I don't know why. Something about the my noise canceling headphones are annoying me right now. All right, so let's start with some low hanging fruit, and we're going to clean up what's bouncing here. We're going to try to clean up the splash screen. I noticed some weirdness here. So let's go into the splash screen. Let's run this, and I'm going to pause it when it starts up because I noticed that the player was showing up. Come on, Unity. All right, so I don't know. Unity is running a little slow. I got to figure out. Hopefully, this weekend I had ordered a HDMI cable, or what did I order? A USB-C to HDMI, and my goal is I'm going to try to use my gaming PC to capture the footage, so that I can get OBS off of my Mac because it's taking up too much resources, and then Unity just barely can run. I mean, that's like par for the course, but. All right, so here is our problem. The player, whoops, I just lost everything. What the, how do I, all right, so I lost, hold on, let me double click it. There we go. Okay, so, whoa, why does this not pan? There we go. Unity is already awesome. I like that NES-inspired splash screen. Yeah, thanks. Hey, Orange Pascal is in the house, man. He's my hero. Yeah, I got all my little like dinky games that I wrote a few years ago all use this sort of same NES style splash screen. It's hard to see because it's I don't know, Unity can't even like draw today. Why is Unity running so bad? So I was noticing what's weird. What I got to figure out is why the player shows up at the wrong position. And I think, man, it's been so long since I've done this. There's I created this little script that I call it a tween layer, where basically I can take any game object and I can add like tween motions to it. It's funny, like Unity now has like a whole animation suite, but at the time when I wrote this, it didn't have any of this. Let me close all these other tabs. I don't really even know how to use the timeline thing. I guess at some point I should probably editor tests. Oh, hey, look at that. It's unit testing. All right, I got to look into that too. They keep adding a whole bunch of stuff to Unity, but because my main project, Pixel Vision 8, doesn't work in Unity 2017, I haven't even like looked at the new stuff yet. But what I want to see is I set the start position manually. This thing isn't very smart. So let me see if I can set this thing to like, that's 700. This is probably just going to be a really kind of ghetto way to do this, because all right, well, that does fix it. Basically, I'm just going to set the player to start like really at like a low Y position. So if we redo this and we step through the this, oh man, this takes forever. I mean, that should cover it. The goal, like my belief was that when I made this mask was supposed to be big enough to cover the whole area, but I don't think it was. I could probably also make this bigger, I think. Like that'll also help mask it off, because I don't want the player to be so far down. Because then the problem is like when you set, like the way that the tween works is it interpolates between two positions over a certain interval, and the further away it starts, the quicker it sort of snaps up. So like setting this thing to like maybe like 700 might be better. Let's try to rerun this and see if it works. So if you're just joining, I'm taking one of my older games, and there's some stuff I'm working on for GDC, which is not next week, but the week after. And I just wanted to get this I wanted to get this game cleaned up. I have all these games that are sitting on my computer that I wrote, and I never really did much with them. And a lot of these games just wind up as demos that I use in tutorials and stuff I write for Amazon. So I've never really taken the game serious per se. So this is just a simple endless runner. I mean, I've used this type of demo a lot. I feel like it's a little bit better than the standard Flappy Bird demo that people use for a long time. And one of the things I wanted to add to this was just better scoring and reward system. And I think it's like a lot. That's like something I talk a lot to developers about is, how do you keep a game sort of engaging, and how do you make the reward loop work enough that people come back to it? And in this kind of game, again, like since this is like a demo game that I wrote, this isn't going to be something that's going to I don't expect like millions of people to play it. But what I wanted to do was get it to the point where it's at least simple enough that if you came back and you played it for a few rounds, even if you just pulled it on your phone while you're killing some time, that the game only lasts a couple of seconds, like maybe like a minute or two is a good run. So one of the things that I want to do today is get all these stats that I track. So the score, the total time, the total steps, how many zombies you've avoided, obstacles that you've jumped over, maximum combo, zombie dogs avoided. So all these stats I basically want to create a ranking system for, so that I can help figure out who are like the best players and see if that adds a little bit more depth to the game. There are some pretty interesting mechanics that I am happy about. Like you see at the bottom, as you play, it basically will give you like little challenges that add a bonus multiplier. So right now I need to get a combo of 6. I forget how I calculated combo. I think it's just there's 300 points for 15 more steps. Like it's constantly like giving you rewards, and you see that I have like a combo counter up there in the corner. So as soon as I died. As soon as you hit that combo, you'll basically get a bonus, and long story short, I mean, I'm just rambling on now, but long story short, that's sort of the plan. So I'm hoping to flesh this out a little bit more. Now, I wonder. All right, let's go to the game scene and let's see if there's something that we can do in order to. I guess I want to clean up the way that the game ends. And one thing I don't like is that the scene's like a little bit too. It seems like a little bit too congested. So let's see if we can actually clean up the canvas a little bit. So here's the canvas. I have this pause mask. I wanted to change the alpha and make this a little bit darker. So at least when, let's turn this off. At least when the game runs, it'll be a little easier to see the stats. And we'll just mask off more of the game. I mean, I could probably get this to be like very close to black. Let's do 232. I'm going to have to, once the game is done, I'm going to have to, or not playing, I'm going to have to reset this. Here we go. Like when you set these changes when the game is running, it doesn't actually save it. And the other thing I want to do is I want to put the sound over to the other side of the screen so that everything isn't just like bunched up over here. So I like this where it's a little bit darker. Let's go to the button group and the sound button. Let's see if we can change the pivot to 0, I believe, and realign this guy. Something's messing with it. Anchor points. I don't remember how this stuff works. or why it's now like some values are driven from the vertical layout group. Right. Okay, I see what's going on. All right, so this button group here, this is a vertical layout group, and because it's a vertical layout group, the objects aren't going to, they're just going to stack vertically. So let's get rid of this vertical layout group and let's set it to scale. But we'll have it scale along the top, and then we'll set the button to the right, and we'll set the sound button to the left. And I think if I just make this visible, I'll be able to see it. Yeah, all right, so let's make this visible, and we'll make this visible too. I play around with these layers a little bit, so play around these layers so that I hide them, and then when the game starts up, it automatically shows them. Let's see what Pascal has to say. So this is the reason I still haven't looked into Unity for my game. I haven't seen you do any code, and I love to write code. Yeah, yesterday was a heavy code day. All the code for this game is all here. I was actually complaining about that yesterday because one of the things I really dislike about Unity is the fact that so much of it like, because it's like drag and drop-ish type stuff, a lot of the UI stuff, it requires you to do it all through the IDE, which is fine. But then when it comes to like more complicated stuff like the game manager, I have like all these references to other like game objects, and it becomes like a mess. It's like what Flash used to be like, where you have some code on a class, you have some code that's dynamically generated, and you can't always tell where the code is. So it makes it really hard. Whereas like when I built Pixel Vision 8, which is my own game engine, ironically enough, it runs on Unity. It's not built on Unity. Everything is all code-based, and it's so much cleaner. Like, the only thing that I use Unity for Pixel Vision 8 is to just render a texture on the screen. Everything else is just pure C#, and then there's like a Lua layer on top. And eventually I'm going to start, once I get a better handle on this kind of stuff, I will, I'll start doing some Pixel Vision 8 stuff. I got to get this sort of done for next week. So let's see if we can get this thing scaled correctly. There's something, I don't know why this is not scaled. So why is, that's the right, that's the left. I don't know, this must be like a parent canvas that has some sort of padding or something that I'm missing. I don't know why this isn't aligning there. Maybe that has something to do with the sound class. Maybe that's what I need to do. Let me set this to 0 and then realign it. Nope. Why? Width 100. I don't know. I built this so long ago that it's going to take me a few minutes to remember what the hell I did. Oh, here, that's left aligned. There we go. Easy solution. All right, so it was just right aligned. So now, so this guy is left aligned. This is right aligned. The one thing I do like about Unity's sort of UI system, when it like actually works, is the fact that it helps with these sort of like different resolution layouts. So I can go through and it does a pretty good job about anchoring itself correctly. So now that I've sorted this out, what I want to do is just come through and let's do a few things here. First, I want to make this like a yes or no because it takes up too much space. And then let's go ahead and give it on the X side, we're going to give it like 5 padding, which I think lines up with what we had before. And instead of doing the actual button, I'm just going to do the group, I guess. So is there all right, everything in Unity is like opposite day. So I have to do -5 to make it move down. And then the quit button on the right side, let's just give it 5. Nope, that's the Y. Let's give it 5. Nope, -5. All right, that should now realign this correctly. So the one thing we're going to have to do now, I have to go figure out where the hell I put the code for the sound. Oh, let me look for, maybe I have like a sound button class. I have a sound manager somewhere along here on the lines I do. Let me see if it's sound. Somewhere I have the string that represents the sound yes or no, and I need to just go ahead. All right, let me go back on the actual object. This is the problem. Like I could never tell where the hell I put my code. All right, so this calls. Oh, I had a sound button class. Wait, what is it? This goes to sound button. So where's sound button? Mute button. Maybe this is the code. Somewhere I'm changing the text. There we go. All right, so let's make this sound yes, no, yes, no. So all I'm doing is I'm just changing the color for the yes or no when you click on it and just redrawing it. So let's hide this button and hide this button, this pause mask. We'll save our changes because why not? I do have this on version control, so I'm not too concerned over rewriting stuff. And let's run it and take a look at what happened. All right, so we have sound yes or no. All right, that works. And quit button. I don't like what the hell is this? Like, why can't I roll off of Unity? I have to keep a highlight because when this is a controller, it needs to know where to actually like go. But all right, so this looks a little bit cleaner now. Let's go back to playing the game, and once we get a mission, all right, I wanted to make sure it tells you your current task is to jump over 4 zombies. So visually, it's already looking a little bit better. Now what I want to figure out is when the game is over, we sort of get to this point here, and it either tells you what your best time is and your best score, but I actually want to have it show more of those stats, because from here what we can do. Oh, I thought I fixed all that yesterday. Crap! How did I break this? There's something with a timer. Shoot. All right, we're gonna have to figure that out later. We'll add it to the bug list. There was something weird that I paused it while I was dying and the time got broken, like this time scale. I use this trick so when you die, it basically slows down time, but globally for Unity. But when you open up a menu, it looked like I was able to, yeah, so I hit play and the game is running in the background, or I hit pause. All right, and now I get into the state where I can't do anything. Cool. All right, I guess I didn't really fix that bug. Now I can't even quit the game. Cool. That's awesome. So, all right, let's figure out how to show the stats at the end of the game. Now, I already have the stats, so I could just redisplay this and then put like a rank number next to it. I think that would be the easiest route. I wonder what would happen if, like, let's say when the game is over, we sort of just showed this screen, and then the real question, like the way that I designed this game is, I wanted you to be able to just like jump right back into a game, and I think that's sort of like the point of these like mindless little like Twitch games, where like Twitch isn't like you just have to like react really quick, is that once you die, you can get like right back into the game without having to like click anything else. Like as soon as you click, it just jumps you like right back into the game. So I don't want to break that process. Maybe maybe what we can do is we can create a screen at the bottom and use the layer stuff, the tween layer stuff, and just have like a stat screen slide up from the bottom. So let's see what we can do here, because I think keeping the time and the best time and this score stuff is important. Let me rerun the game and we'll take a look at what this looks like. Maybe we can just mock something up. This is like kind of one of the good things about Unity, is that I can basically like mock this stuff up, move everything around, see how it looks, and then if I don't like it, if I stop playing the game, it'll just reset. So we have stats. We have this pause mask. And I wonder if I made the pause mask wow, I don't think my computer can run any slower right now. Just trying to see if this looks good. Where basically I can have something slide up from the bottom. It'll show you your, I can still leave this UI here because it'll highlight like your best stuff, and then this would be the global leaderboard. So in essence, what we'd wind up doing is for the stats, we would add something here that looked like this. For right now, let's just do like FFFF 00. Isn't that like a color? Why is it not changing the color? FF00FF magenta. You want to show me magenta? Why isn't this changing the color? What am I missing here? All right. Maybe like for some reason it doesn't like hex numbers. All right, so 10. Oh shoot! I don't want to do that. We can do you guys don't see it, but like literally, I click the mouse and there's like a delay on my computer. So okay, here's sort of what I'm thinking. Like we would do, I could do something like this where it ranks you based on. Stop. The delay is maddening. Like I kind of like this. I don't know yet if I really want to do all right, so what I would holy shit. All right, I'll just use the keyboard. So we would have something like this basically, where it shows you your rank. Maybe this thing I could do where it's it does that. Okay, so I'm thinking like this is sort of what we show, and then here you'll wind up with your rank. Oh, we finished the Pomodoro. Let me log what I've done here. What did I fix so far? I fixed the splash screen, and I've been looking into adding game stats over screen. I also, the other thing that I did was I fixed the quit and sound button layout. fix. So if you didn't see the stream yesterday, which chances are pretty good you didn't, I use this thing called Pomo To Do, right? I think that's what it's called. I can't remember right now. And I just mark down, I sort of put down my tasks, but I use it in sort of Pomodoro, so I can have, I can basically keep track of how long it takes me to do stuff and remind me to take a break. Is this, nothing is running on my computer right now. Infinite mode. Yeah, Pomo To Do is the name of the program. So now it should restart. I swore that I submitted this. Did I not submit this? There we go. All right, let me submit my tasks. All right, and then it'll restart for the Pomodoro. So this is sort of what I'm thinking. And then the other thing that I wanted to add was I was debating whether I wanted to have some sort of like restart. I'm not sure how I want to do this. I'm sort of like pulling this out of my ass right now. So I think like I think I can just have the pause mask take over the whole screen. And I wonder if see if I made the score text, what I might have to do is I might have to make another pause mask layer so that only shows up when the game is over, and then I tell it which objects to show. These stats are there, and then what I wanted to do was I don't know. All right, let's see if we can just get this to show up and see if this will work. So the goal is going to be that when the game is over, I'll basically have it pull open. I'll have it just show a mask, and then like here, if I did this pause mask here, whoops. This is sort of what I was thinking. Like to continue makes it really hard when the thing is flickering. All right, here we go. So we'll make this like what, 20? So okay, what we'll do is when the game is over, we'll show a mask. You'll see your time. You'll see your score. And then we'll show you all the stats so you can see exactly where your rank is. And although actually, this might sort of be redundant. Like it might just be easier to get rid of the best score and the best time and just have your ranking. And then it'll tell you where you rank based on like all the other players. And then you can basically just click to continue. So in that case, let's just see if we can get this to work. All right, so what I want to do is I need to know when I need to figure out where I show the continue text. All right, so this is one of those moments where I'm going to go into Unity and say, here's my game manager. There's got to be a place where here's the continue text. So I must have somewhere I must have a variable in the mute. That's why. Let's go to the game manager. On the game manager, there must be something here that has continue text. So let's just look for update continue text canvas set alpha to blink. So if the game hasn't started, we basically show this blinking. All right. Let me see the stats for a second. So update display for the stats enabled. All right, I'm just trying to break down the steps of what I need to do, because part of it is visual. I need to display the stats. The other part of it is I need to update the stats to show the rank only at the end of the game. And then I need to update the, then I need to figure out a way to keep track of the stats. So there's just a lot of steps, and I'm probably going to break this out into individual Pomodoro tasks. It's technically my break, so I'm just sort of thinking through things before I jump into the next phase of development. So let's see if we can just get stats to show up. So blink time. So here we show. All right. So let's see where am I? On update, game started. Game overlock, set render, set alpha. What I want to figure out is how to just do this once. So let's do debug log game over. Because what's happening, like what's sort of kind of annoying about the way I wrote this code is that it's actually updating everything all the time, which it shouldn't be. So we can make this a little bit more optimized. So here's the console. Let's just see if the game, when the game ends, let's just die. Now it's constantly calling game over. So what we want to do is, we technically don't want to be keep updating this every time. Now, I don't remember what this game overlock is. Whoops. I get this feeling like we just need some sort of flag. Hold on, there was something up at the top that I... Game overlock. Game overlock delay. So there must be something that... must be some way that I can tell that a game is over. And the best way that we could figure this out is let's look for where we set game over. And then, so there's a game overlock. We set this to true. All right, so when the player is killed, we set a coroutine to reset the game overlock, and we pass it in the delay. Reset game overlock. So what I'm wondering is debug log game over. What I want to do is I'm trying to find the one central place in this game where it definitively says, hey, the game is over. Now we can display the stats. And let's see if this is the place. Because I only want to do this once. I don't want to keep like re-rendering the... I don't want to keep re-rendering the score and that stuff. It doesn't make any sense to do that. So, okay. So it called this once. That's our place. So it's funny, like this. I mean, whatever. I'm sure when I wrote this, this was fine. But there's like a lot of stuff here that I would have. There's a lot of things here that I probably would clean up a little bit better. So like this is fine. We would let this thing. We can let this thing blink. Blink time. I mean, I thought I had a class that does blinking, but hey, I don't know. We can go deal with that later. So now what I'm looking for is, I just want to make sure that when this is over, we reset the text, and we only reset the text once, and then it actually works. And then if that works, then what we'll do is we'll start setting up some logic to display the stats at the end of the game, and then we'll just go piece by piece, right? I mean, this is sort of how I work. Like, I think about what I want to do. All right, so the score showed up. It's not my best score. Let's see if we can like have a good run on this. No pun intended. Haha. Oh no, I'm gonna die. All right, so clearly not my best score or my best time. But now I know where the game over is, and we can keep adding some logic to it. So like in this case, what I'm going to do is let's just hide the time and score completely. I don't know why this stuff wrapped. I hate when like editors wrap the text for code. And let's get rid of this so we can actually see. Recording at this resolution is challenging to say the least. Okay. So all we're going to do is debug log game over. We're going to clear this score out because instead of displaying the best time and the best score, we're going to use, we're just going to display the stats, and the stats themselves will actually give you that value back. So we die, game's over, and hides the score, and now we just need to display the stats. So we should already have a reference to... Thought that I already had a reference to the stats stuff. So let's... we'll just do it here. So one of the things that's interesting about Unity, I guess if you want to like get into the whole like using the IDE to help write your code, is that any public field that we create will automatically show up in the IDE for that game object in the inspector. So we're going to do a game object stats, and we're just simply going to test. Well, we'll just do this stats. I thought set active true. I think that makes it visible. I don't, you can see how long it's been since I've really used like Unity's game object API stuff. All right, let's see here. All right, it didn't like that. Oh, well, it didn't like that because I didn't give it a reference to. It needs a reference to the stats game object. So let's give it this, and pretty sure that's how this works. So now basically what I've done, I've dragged a reference to the stats game object onto here, and when the player dies, it'll try to activate that object. There we go. So now it displays that. Perfect. The other thing that we should activate while we're doing this is the... Let's also create a public game object for the stats mask. Right? And we'll do this too. So stats mask set active to true. And we need to make sure that when we restart the game, that we actually, so whenever we reset the game, let's go ahead and set these guys to false, just in case. False. All right, so now what should happen is when we die, it'll give us the... All right, that's set to false. Let's bring the pause mask and bring this here. And then what we want to also do is, I feel like the continue text needs to be above the pause mask. There we go. All right, so we die, we show the stats. It says press spacebar to continue. We're going to fix that, of course. And what I sort of want to do is get it to be where, like, if you click in this upper part here, it will, if you click in this upper part here, it'll let you continue the game. But if you click down here, it'll take you to a screen that'll help break out the individual stats. So that this way you can see what the ranks are around you. So if we click now, that's not going to do anything. Okay, that's fine. That's sort of fine. What we'll do is we'll just say, like, click here to continue, and we'll make it like sort of buttons or something. I haven't figured that out yet. It's more thought than I have normally. But right now we can't restart the game because I think I used this. Let's get rid of this thing as a raycast target. Let's see if that fixes it. Nope. Why doesn't is it because the touch layer is obscured now? That's strange. I don't know why it's not reactivating. Having this mask up shouldn't, unless, yeah, wait, you know what, but I think, oh, that's cool. That's player, that should be player action. I gotta fix that now. So player action, I need to fix that here. That's gonna break. Yeah, game manager, player action. So one thing we can do is we can probably just add we can add something to this pause mask to restart the game. Kind of confused as to why that doesn't let me restart. Let's get rid of the pause mask for a second and see. Huh. Interesting. Tired today. All right, I don't know why that's not working. So, all right, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So I think, so the next thing that I want to do is when we die, we'll show the stats, and let's see if we can just update. Excuse me. Let's see if we can just update this this a little bit. I think I want to get the continue text, and I want to move this up to the top and set this to like 10 or something. -10. 0. -20. All right, and -24. All right, so we're gonna rewrite this. All this is just one text field anyway, so we're gonna rewrite how this works. I just want to get this going. So I was kind of like confused by a few things. I just wanted to see why the font looks smoother here versus somewhere else. But okay, so I think we'll just put the text. We're gonna put this press spacebar to restart, which isn't working. But at least we'll get the text to be in the right place. So let's copy this component. And when we stop it, we'll paste this component's position here. And we should probably, well, we can leave it. So when we run the game, That'll automatically disappear. And when we die, it should now give us something like at the top, you can continue, but at the bottom, you can go look at the scores. All right, so I want to see one thing here real quick. If we add a component event trigger, and we add a new event type on click, on pointer click, and we pass this to the game manager. And on the game manager, we do player That's strange. Where is toggle pause, update continue text, stop coroutine, send a message, player action? There we go. All right, so that'll fix that problem. What I want to avoid though is, all right, cool, because the game's paused, it won't trigger it. Interesting. Okay, so that's the next thing we need to do, which is add this copy component. We'll add this trigger to paste component as new. We'll add this to the pause mask, so when the game is over, it'll basically, if we click in the pause mask, it will restart the game. That'll fix that bug. All right. At least I thought it did. I think there's something, I think like the stats text is breaking it. Let's see. Like if we click here. All right, so it's only if we click on the background. That's kind of annoying. We should probably just change the continue here, the continue text to be a button. All right, we'll get to that. Remove component. Let's go and add that as a feature. So we need restart and view scores. All right, so at least we have something to track. The next thing we need to do is, so we added a game overlay screen, which we've done. Now we need to clean up stats for game over screen. We'll add this to our never-ending task list. So now there was a class here for stats, and this updates display. Now I wonder where I call this. So let's go and find the usages. Right, on enable. Now this thing doesn't know if stat manager is true. So the problem with the stats like on enable is that it doesn't know if the game is over. Let's see where we did. I tried to make these components sort of like self-contained, but score text, stats. So there's something here that we do when it's on enabled. There's got to be a way that, I guess, like let's double check something here real quick. Let's do debug log. We're gonna see if, oops. Wow, the delay is killing me here. Debug log. We're gonna look for update stats. And one of the things that I want to check is that when we go to update the stats, so when the I just want to see it when I update the when I make the stats visible when the game is over, that it actually calls update stats. Okay, so now all we need to do is flag on the stats value whether it should show what mode it's in. So there's got to be another place where I'm referencing the stats. So now in the game manager, I now have a reference to stats. So what we can do is on game over, this is going to be sort of, I don't like this at all, but we'll deal with this later. Boolean show summary. Well, what we could do is there is a stat manager, and the stat manager, let's see if the game manager has a reference to the stat manager. Yeah. So on the stat manager, what we'll wind up doing is reset stats, get stat value, reset stat key, time elapsed to string. This is going to be a little bit more complicated than I wanted to do. We're going to put it on. We'll put it on the stat manager. Basically, I need a way to tell it that the game is over. So let's do public Boolean show game over summary. Right, and then on the game manager, what we're going to look for is stats. So here, when the game is over, we're going to do stats.get component, and we're going to get a reference to the stats class. And on this, we'll do true. And let's do this before we actually make this thing visible. Then the other place where we're going to do this is when we set this to false, let's just go ahead and set this to false. I mean, honestly, like the easiest way for us to do this is to just always show your rank, even at runtime. So, but we still need to know whether the game is. I'm not gonna. Let's not half-ass this. Let's try to do this somewhat realistically. So, okay, I'm not doing anything yet. So what we want to do is let's go into our stats, and now I want to refactor this whole thing here, and what I wanted to get it to the point of is like when we go to render the stats, we need to basically decide if we're going to show a rank or not, and this should all just be broken out. So let's do one last thing. Update stats, and I just want to make sure that we're able to tell whether the game is over or not. And then once we know that the game is over, then we can change the entire way that this renders, because technically this should all be a string builder. This is probably, whoops, too expensive to be doing it this way. So wait for us to die. We'll show this. It's showing us that true. That means that it knows that the game is over. Let's restart. Oh, I removed that. I removed that event thing. All right, let me just restart the game. I'll restart the game, and then what we'll do is we'll check here, and it says false. So here it's going to show the regular stuff, and then when the game is over, it's going to show the other. Okay. So the best way that we can actually illustrate this is by simply looking at show game over summary. We don't want to see the current achievement. So if show game summary is false, we don't need to show the current achievement because there is no achievement, right? And in fact, what we probably will do, we'll basically just show them a global rank. So in this case, we can do this, and I'll map it out for right now. We'll just make stats color. So your global rank equals color new line active color. I don't know what the difference between this and regular. Let's get rid of all of this, and for right now we're just going to hard code it. So we'll do it like 100th place. All right. So now what we're looking for is when we look at the stats, we basically will see if when we go to the pause screen, it'll show us the current task that we're doing. So let's get a task going. So we pause it here. It says your current task is jump over 4 obstacles. Great. Ooh, that's perfect. Now when we die, it should show us your global rank is 100th place, right? So you get the ranks from each of these things, and then somehow I'll come up with a way of doing it. And I think this actually, I have to like stand up for a second. I'll see if I can bring the mic with me. So this is sort of the basic goal. And again, like what I'm trying not to do is I don't want to like really change the game that much. I'm trying to show, like, I wanted to write a nice little article about like how you can add a little bit more depth to a game by simply just changing the way that you reward the players for how they play it. And the goal is to take a game that basically has a decent enough like game loop, but with like a few tweaks, it will actually, you know, improve the game by X-fold. I don't know how to quantify that, but that's sort of the plan. All right, let's mark down our Pomodoro. So we basically are cleaning up the stats for the game over screen, and we'll submit that. Okay, so next on the list, I had to like stretch for a second. I can't sit at a computer all day anymore. I've like gotten too old. So if I don't get up and move around, my like legs and my back start hurting. There's one other thing that I noticed is driving me nuts, and I'm gonna add this to the list. But what we need to do is fix zombies based on screen width. I don't know why the zombie horde isn't showing up correctly, but here's the zombie mob. All of these zombies, I think, are random animated frame sprite renderer. I feel like I need to change these into UI elements so that they show up. There's like a whole group of zombies off to the side of the screen, and they don't show up in the correct. Oh no, I think I might actually move that by code. Where do I move? Where do I have that code? Zombie mob, game manager. Do I have that done by code? Doesn't look like it. Thought I was like laying them out correctly. But anyways, when you change resolutions, they don't show up in the same place. So I could probably make them as UI elements. Or I can just use some code to move that whole group over instead of having to deal with the UI stuff. Oh, it looks so good on like widescreen. Like I wanted to give you this impression that you're just being chased by like all of these zombies. I think I had it like an iPad resolution or something, and that it doesn't give you a lot of room. But let's pause it and see if we move them over. Yeah, we can just do we can like write a little script that'll fix that. That's not a big pain in the butt. All right, so what I wanted to do, I wanted to take a look at one thing, and I wanted to see if I can fix this layout for the stats. Now this, I wanted to see if there's a way I can center this a little bit better, because I don't like the text. I don't like the continue text being at the top of the screen. So I just want to, my thinking is that I can actually like put like 2 extra line breaks and push this text. Okay, that's what we're going to do. We're going to center this text, and we're going to get rid of the top buffer. We're going to go back to the continue text, and we're going to put that. I wish I'd saved where I had that text. Let's put it down here, and then we'll make it stretch. And if we set that to 0, we'll make this 24. Let's just see if we can clean this guy up. I don't know, for some reason, like my eyes focus towards like the bottom of the screen. So having like the continue text at the top of the screen just feels like completely wrong. So I wanted to, yeah, it's a little high, but it's fine. I could probably just add a space to the top of it. Like here, if we go to the stats text, and I add a space, that'll fix the padding. What happens on different resolutions? I mean, like when Unity's UI stuff works, it works really well. Like, I have to give it credit. Just the problem is like it doesn't really work well a lot of the times. All right, so I need to add a space. So let's add some tasks so I don't forget this stuff. Add a line break to the top of stats text for pause menu. So that'll bring that text down, and then if we unpause the game and we die, the text will be here, and then we should have the continue text showing up right here. And then here, we just want to add what is it? 1, 2, 3, 3 breaks, and then that'll give us, so your global score. So basically what it's going to do is it'll show you the stats, like the top row, like all these stats will amount to a score, and then you'll see what your rank is globally, and then whenever you press, it'll continue the game. Okay, so we need to add 3 spaces to the bottom of the, so add 3 lines to the bottom of game over stats. All right, so let's go and fix that real quick while it's still in my mind. So that'll give us 3 lines here, and then what we'll just do is, I don't know why, like I can't select anything correctly today. I'm just trying to figure out if this is the stats text, right? So what we want to do here is stats text is going to equal, whoops, stats text. So that'll add a new line return to the top of the text. Let's see if that fixes the alignment. is like one of those places that I get like really sort of nitpicky on is just sort of like based on my art background. Like I want to make sure that things look right before I move on to anything else. All right, so that looks good. And then when we die, it'll give us the game over. And press spacebar to continue. Cool. I mean, and then we can get like much cooler stuff. Like then we can start building this thing out where instead of it just like showing you, I mean, just to start with, I'm just going to have it where it shows you this screen. But then we could do like, now that it's all like text based, I can just have it type out the text and show you the score and add up the score and do it like line by line and get you to the global rank and build it up to be something a little bit cooler than just something like blank like this. But I do like that now that now when you restart it, everything, you know, it's just a lot clearer like how your score is being generated. I don't know what it is, like my headphones today are like making my, like I'm sort of congested and headphones are like bothering me. Oh, so I was just checking Twitter real quick to see if anyone had anything cool to say. I don't even know if anyone's really watching the stream. Just hanging out today. So, all right. Let's see. So what's next on the list? I want to break out each of these pieces into their own thing. So first, let's make a little task for this so I don't forget, but break out each stat into method to display rank if game is over. And we fixed these two things. So fix zombies based on screen with clear up. Okay. And we cleaned up the stats for the game over. I feel like we got that. We're good to go. So now let's go ahead and break out each one of these things into its own method. And let's see, what do we have? So we have private generate score stat. Do we have score time? Well, we'll just copy this whole thing and then we'll clean it up while we can. So var text and what was the color? So for right now, let's just pull this out and make it its own thing, and then we'll deal with cleaning up the colors later. The reason I was breaking this out is what I want to do is if show game over summary is true, we want to do text dot or text plus equals. I guess we'll redo the color, but we'll clean this up later. We want to add a comma, we want to put this in parentheses. No, wait, not this. And let's add a var rank equals. Right now, I want to make a method that will get me private string calculate rank, and what we're going to do is we're going to pass in a string value for stat, and then we will turn. All right, we'll clean this up later. Basically, what we need to do is we're gonna have to do like a lot of stuff where we calculate like whether it's his first or second or third, and we'll have to fix the grammar for that. And in fact, we'll do a to do need to get real rank and show correct grammar. So var stat. I think what we can do is we can actually like make this generic. So why don't we just generate stat text, and we'll put in a string, and we'll pass in the stat label and string padding int padding, right? So in this case, what we're going to do is we simply just pass in the stat. So we'll get the stat with a stat label, and then the padding will just be d plus whatever the value is. And then here we will call the rank. We will pass in the stat, right? We'll pass in the stat, and then this will give us a space, some color. There's a much better way. In fact, what we can do is to do use text format to clean this up. We'll use text format. I guess like sometimes I'm like really lazy and I just use like strings, but there's a cleaner way of doing this stuff, so we'll deal with that later. So right here, what we want to do is instead of showing the score like this, we are going to put this in parentheses, and then inside of here, we are going to call calculate rank, and we'll pass in the stat, and then plus. And I realized that I misspelled calculate rank. So here we don't even need to do this. And this way we can have the rank as a separate color. All right, so that should work. And then it'll return this text, and this will get the stat. And now all we need to do is, for here, we can just call generate score. Right? We'll make this all one line so it's easier to comment out. And let me just fix these so that they're all in one line, and then we'll go through and we'll just do one big bulk modification to the API call. All right, so here what we just need to do is pull out each of the different stats. So stat manager. All right, we'll have to get to this one separate because that one doesn't follow the same paradigm, and we'll have to abstract that out. So zombie, obstacle, max combo, zombie dog. And the max time, stat manager, time elapsed. All right, so that's this one. We're gonna have to need a way to get time similar to other stats. Just see, like I'm pretty big about when I'm programming, I can't keep track of everything, so I use a lot of to-dos. So we'll come back to this one. The other thing that I realized that I want to do is I want to add a label. So while we're making this method a little bit more generic, let's go ahead and let's change the signature. We'll add a new string, and we'll call this label, and we'll move this up and hit next. Next. All right, so now in all these places, wherever we need to do it, we need to add the label. So this is one of the things that's actually kind of cool about like doing some of the built-in refactoring, especially in like ReSharper and in Rider, like I'm using, is that I wanted to add a new argument to this method, and it basically just added it to do for me. So what we'll do is we'll go in here and we'll just add whatever the, even though I'm not using this yet, I'll add it here so I don't forget, because the label is different than the actual stats, right? So we'll just display that. And this makes it pretty easy, because like now if I ever wanted to like reorder this stuff, I can just put the label and the stat name into an array and then just have this iterate and loop through and build out an array, which is probably what I'll wind up doing in the end anyways. But it's sort of good to go through this process, and just, I spend a lot of time, like I write the code out cleanly, like so it's easy to follow, and then later on I'll go back and I'll optimize it and create things that are a little bit more dynamic. I mean, for the most part, I sort of know in my head kind of like what I want to do when I approach something like this. So like, all right, so with the exception of the total time, we're going to go through and let's just see if this even works. So what we're looking for is, if you're just joining in, I'm adding some more like granular stats and scoring to a very simple endless runner. And let's see if we can get this working. So right now, if we look at the stats, oh, everything's a little bit broken. Let's go in here. There's one thing I forgot to do. First, we need to add the label. And then the other thing that we didn't do is at the end, we should just add a line break. And then the stats should display correctly. Tired. Why am I so tired today? All right, so let's look at the stats. So here we now have all the stats. We're also not padding anything. I just want to make sure it shows us the combo. All right, cool. So there's a few little things that I want to tweak real quick. First off, we can leave that, but we don't need this extra line break because it pushes it down too much. And the same thing with this. Then the next thing is we need to add in the padding. Let's go. So this padding was 6. This padding, we can make this like 4. I don't think I padded a lot of this stuff. This one was, so 3, 2, 2, 2, right? So 3, 2, 2, and how many zombie dogs? 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 3. I wonder why steps taken I didn't pad. 2. And the reason we padded is because I want to make sure that we have that we're counting characters, and we're making sure that, one, I just think padded numbers look better in pixel art fonts, but 2, that we can account for all the spacing we need for the characters on the screen. So here, well, that didn't do anything, huh? Why is it not padding it? Maybe I'm not passing in the padding number. That's strange. All right, let's have it die, and let's just make sure that the layout looks good here. When we die, the layout should look good. It's not hitting the text at the bottom, and we're not padding. But you can now see that when the game is over, we're getting the ranks, right? So, and there's a lot of subtle things that we can do. Like we can do color coding for the rank. So if you're not ranked very high, we can make it gray. If you are ranked in the top 10, we can do some color coding stuff. Let me add that to the list. So add color coding to rank. So top 10. So, you know, first orange, top 10 green, anything else gray or red, right? So that's one thing that we could do. Like we want to make sure that that screen is pretty easy to follow. And oh, I wanted to see why this wasn't padding correctly. Whoops, you don't want to see my my playlist. Listen to Onyx Slam. I don't know. I have like what I have going on? They have like some time capsule thing, so it just goes through. I don't know how it figured this stuff out, but basically there's a lot of stuff I listened to growing up. So everything between like NORE from Noriega to Pearl Jam to Nine Inch Nails. So actually a pretty decent playlist. Listen to some Ooh Child. All right, so what's next? I wanted to figure out why the padding wasn't working. Let's look here. To string. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I can't. Oh, I see why. I'm an idiot. I'm just not passing in the padding value. So all we need is this instead of 0, and that should fix the padding. There we go. Now we got the padding correctly. All right, so all right, so this is looking good. Now we should do some basic color. We should do some basic coloring for the text. I just don't like. I don't like what this is, and I think what your global rank. Global rank, here's the color for your current task. All right, so here what we should do is when we calculate the rank, it should return a value. Well, actually, this thing should just build the string. So let's do var rank string equals first. Just to make things simple for right now, what we'll do is we're going to pull out this color, rank string. We can get rid of this, and we'll put this here. And now, all we need to do is add the rank string. Okay, so now let's take a look at two things I wanted to do. First, let's do a quick Google search. I wonder if there's like an easy way in C#. An easy way to create ordinals in C#. Hey, look, that's called an ordinal. Hey, look, we learned something new. This page gives you a complete list of all custom numerical formatting rules. As you can see, there is nothing in there about ordinals, so it can't be done using string format. However, it's not really that hard to write the function to do it. First, second, third. So update. Technically, ordinals don't exist for anything less than 0, so I've updated the code below. Also remove redundant toString. All right, hey, look at this. So we have some ordinals. We learned a new word today. I never knew that it was called an ordinal. So what we'll do is add ordinal. So we'll do var rank equals 1. Why don't we just do this? Math f. Oh, I think Unity has a random 1 to 1000. All right, it's random dot range. So we'll get a random range every time we look at the stats, and then what we'll do is we'll call add ordinal rank. Get rid of this rank string, and then the color is going to based on. So let's see. So this is the default gray, right? And we'll do if rank equals 1. We'll just make a rank color equals to do FF, right? And else if rank is, well, we should do it the other way. It should be if the rank is less than 10, do this, and if rank equals 1, else do this. And here we can just do like FF0000. And all right, I mean, this is super sloppy, but basically, like by default, the rank will be 0. Then, if not, the color can be either red or white. So we can go with that. Just getting a message. I just need to respond to real quick. So let's see if we can actually get this to display the stats correctly. I think that'd be a pretty good win if I can walk away with a good stat screen, and then next week I can like wire all this stuff up. So right here, when we pause the game, you'll see that there's no ranking. And then if we die, we should have all of our rank. So right, okay, so 200. Looks like I did a really crappy job, but it's perfect. All right, so 800th, 212th, 253rd. Hey, so this works pretty good, right? If we lowered the range, we would probably see this dynamic stuff a little bit more. So like, let's say we got into like 15 as the range. Well, hopefully you guys learned something new, that first and third are ordinals. I'm excited. I like learning new words. There we go. So we got first, fourth, second, 13th, 14th, third. So, all right, you know, this might actually just work out better this way. I don't know if I need to get like super granular, but right, if the text is white, let's find a better. I don't know why it doesn't like. I don't know why it doesn't like my color, my hex colors. Unity does like something weird with this text. Let's see if we can get anything in the top 10 to just be red. So I just wanted to be. I wanted to like stand out a little bit better. So we'll just wait for the player to die, and then I'll log this Pomodoro. Yeah, I don't know why it's white. it's like really, really weird. All right, well, I can fix that later. But so the other thing that we don't have is like we're not calculating a final score, but we've added this stuff. All right, this is looking good. I think the things that we need to add is let's clean this up. Breakout, add color to ranking. Well, we worked on it, but we didn't complete it. Break out each method into its own stat, which we did. All right, so the things that I want to do now are we need to look into why hex colors don't work on ranks under 10. Also, we need to calculate the full score for from all the stats. Then we also need to, what were the other little issues? Oh, we needed to add back in total time to stats. All right, so that should probably be a good amount of what is it, 11:30. I'm just gotta check my calendar to make sure, see what my meetings are. All right, I think I probably have to call it a day. I'm probably gonna end the stream, and I'll start working on this stuff on Monday, and it shouldn't take me too long to finish building this stuff out. So basically, thanks everyone for watching. I'm gonna end here. I gotta do some work, like real work stuff, and then I'll be back on Monday and we'll continue streaming.